Hi there, and welcome to day 32 of my small business marketing tips video series. Apologies for the short break over the last couple of days. My entire weekend was taken up with swimming galas, and whilst I set about it with an intention of perhaps being able to do something in a spare 5 or 10 minutes, that was never really going to happen. So apologies for the 2-day break in proceedings. We will resume back on course now with a tip every day. Today's tip is another one of the advertising series, and that is all about buying ads on relevant websites. So, I mean, banner ads, as they're called, are not a new thing at all. It was they were one of the first ways of advertising on the internet, and have been around for probably about 20 years. And a lot of the pros and cons of banner ads remain the same. One thing that I would certainly strongly suggest you do before thinking about anything about your banner ads is, if you haven't done so already, you need to have a think about who your target audience are, because then you'll be able to write a list. I would say between 10 or 20 websites where you think your target audience might be going. What I would do then is to have a look at all those websites and typically scroll down. Well, the first thing to do is when you get to that website, just have a quick look yourself to see, are they showing any ads? If they're not, then that would tend to suggest that that's not something they do. If they are showing ads, typically on the top or down the right, which is where they most often are, if they are showing ads, then scroll down to the bottom of the page, and it's likely that there'll be an advertiser's link, which might, depending on how sophisticated they are, you might be able to download information on costs and rates, or you may just be able to contact the owner of the website or the webmaster to get that information. So I would have a look, have a think about the sort of sites that your target customers are going to. And have a look at that. Another thing, and this is something, if anybody of you knows of a guy called Russell Brunson, who's the inventor of ClickFunnels, and he's published a couple of very influential books, .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, which I strongly recommend you get. He advocates what he calls funnel hacking your competition. So essentially what that means is identifying where your competitors get their web traffic from, in his phrase, the top of their sales funnel, identifying where your competitors get their traffic from, and mirroring that, basically. So one thing to do is have a look at your competitors' websites. There are a couple of handy little websites that you can use to help you with this process. The best one, for my mind, is a site called SimilarWeb. And what you can do if you go onto SimilarWeb is you type in a URL. It doesn't have to be your website, it can be any website in the world, and it will tell you in quite a detailed way where it gets its traffic from. Now, the more traffic it gets, the more information it can give you. So, big sites, you will be able to find a lot more information than if you were just dealing with, a local competitor, a local hair salon or something like that. But I would certainly do that. SimilarWeb is free. You just go to their website. If you use the Chrome browser, then there is actually a Chrome browser plugin extension you can get, where basically once that's installed, you can just click on the little extension button at the top, when whatever website you're on, and you can get a snapshot of the information. So certainly do this funnel hacking exercise. Use SimilarWeb to see where your competitors are getting their traffic from, and that might spark off some inspiration for where you can get your traffic from. So once you've identified potentially where you can put your banners, you need to have a think about what they're going to be. Now, one of the shortcomings of banner ads is, you are putting an advertising message in front of someone when they aren't particularly wanting it, and by its very nature, if your ad is doing its job, then it's going to distract them from what they're actually on that website to do. So it is intrusive, and to work it needs to sort of interrupt them and get in their face. So just a boring static banner ad, you might as well not bother, to be honest. You need to think quite creatively about the ad, about where it's going to be placed. So, have your creative match the sites where it might be, and really think about what you can do to interrupt your potential target audience as they're searching around the internet, coming across all these various other sites. Now, in terms of placement, you obviously need to think about where the ad is placed. Typically, people tend to scan websites. Research tells you in a sort of an F-shaped fashion, where they look at the top first, then they go down the left-hand side, and then they start going across to the right, and then they go back up to the top. So really, anything at the top is probably best placement if you can get it, but there will come a cost for that. As with any banner ad, you're encouraging people to click, and you need to think about where they go to when they click. So as with any paid advertising where you're getting people to click, you shouldn't just be getting them to go to your website homepage. That's very much missing a trick. You should be directing them to a specific landing page, which very much mirrors the creative of the ad and what you're offering. Various people call that AdSense, in the sense that it links very closely to the ad and the landing page. The landing page should be very limited in its options of what people are able to do. They should be able to phone a number or submit their email address. You shouldn't be then giving them lots of options of other website pages to browse off onto, because they'll get distracted and they'll go off and do that. So that's buying banners. One thing which I suppose should be discussed at the same sort of time is the likes of Facebook and Google will allow you to advertise on other sites using what they call their display network. Now, previously, the display network had a bit of a bad reputation, or certainly it wasn't seen to be as effective as just serving it up when people are in their news feed or when people are searching. But it is a way of getting your ad out there onto other partner websites using the sophisticated targeting that Google and Facebook can offer you. So in some senses, I would potentially suggest you explore the likes of the Facebook and Google display network alongside, potentially going out to other sites and seeing if you can advertise on them. I certainly would suggest that as a next step, as a secondary option, if you have exhausted all the websites, before you go to, there are sites out there which sort of aggregate websites and sort of allow you to bulk buy display ads. I mean, the issue there is you're never going to have as much control in terms of the creative and the placement. You're not going to be building relationships with the individual website owners. So I would say going down the bulk ad buying or banner buying would be third on the list. So hopefully that's been useful today. A few tips on buying ads on relevant websites. We're coming to the end of the advertising section, but we've got a couple more to go. So hope you found this useful, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, bye.